What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's Sunday Sauce video, I just want to check in on Bitcoin after we've seen this big pump to the upside. And I want to give you guys kind of my sentiment and my plan moving forward into the next week. Are we going to see more upside? Are we going to get faked out with a move to the downside? And if you guys saw my video from last Sunday, you guys know we were looking at the possibility of getting some random Bitcoin ETF bullish news and getting a big move to the upside. And although I like to pretend, I didn't know the next day we would get that random bullish news and pump right up to those levels. But after seeing this big move on Bitcoin, I want to talk to you guys about what the next step is here and what the next likely levels for Bitcoin are going to be. And again, just talk about kind of my plan moving into the next week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and try to figure this crazy price action out. Let's get into it. So guys, here we are on the Bitcoin chart, and obviously we have gotten a significant move to the upside here. Beautiful pump off that Bitcoin ETF news. Now, obviously, guys, this was a significant breakout as we were stuck in this area of consolidation for quite some time, and we have been trading this volume profile all the way back since March of 2023, looking for those shorts at the highs, longs at the lows, shorts at the highs, and I am still currently in my long position from down here at 25,250, and these were all trade setups in the premium Discord, and yes, I am still in this position down from 25,250, and as we were consolidating around in this range, guys, we were looking for a move up from this low all the way up to our value area high of the range, which is to be expected once you hold the low as support, obviously. Now, I was looking for price to get up to that value area high, which did happen right here, right before we got that big move to the upside, but we knew as we approached this value area high, guys, obviously that's why I made the video last Sunday about getting a potential break of the yearly highs, because that was not originally my sentiment, right? My sentiment was that we were going to come up and put in a potential lower high somewhere here on the higher time frames to continue a move back down to the lower 20s. But obviously, guys, as a trader, we always look at the bearish case and bullish case because we make money going both ways. And even though we were looking for a lower high here, please understand, if you're trying to trade these markets, I was looking for a lower high here. I was bearish on that move up, and I am still up over 500% on a long. It doesn't matter if you're wrong about the market if you're looking at both the bullish and the bearish case. That's why I always say you want to trade based off of an if this then that statement. That way you're not leaving any opportunity on the table. So although we did not get the lower high we were looking for here, we were watching the charts very intently, looking for signals that we could break that high, and we did. Again, that's why I made that Sunday Sauce video, looking for those higher levels. But again, I didn't know that we were predicting that bullish ETF news a day before it happened. Sometimes you get lucky on these predictions, but obviously, guys, we have gotten that move up, and price has now entered an extremely exciting new range from above, pulled back here from the top of the bull run, and we'll take a look at those levels right now. So as we broke out of this last area of consolidation, as you guys know, price ranges about 80% of the time, and typically when you're ranging and price leaves that range, it will go ahead and hunt out a new area of balance, or it will go ahead and just trade around in an old area of balance, which we do actually have right here. So not only did we break out of that local range that we were trading in, but we also broke into a new trading range, which obviously we were talking about in that last Sunday Sauce video, but that range was pulled from up here from the top of the bull run, and this range does go from about 28.6K all the way up to about 48 to 50K. Now, obviously, guys, we know how the volume profiles work, and once you hold these levels or these value area lows as support, the next stop for Bitcoin is likely going to be that point of control, which is where we are sitting right now, and we're actually starting to get a bit of bullish consolidation. Now, this bullish consolidation is really what I want to talk about in this video, because again, in the last Sunday Sauce video, we talked about this range and how these next targets were going to be likely as long as we could break out of our old range that we were just looking at from right here. right? And we have broken out of this range, and we have now gotten accepted back into the larger range, which technically does open up the door to potentially get up to some of these higher prices, ending up between about 48 and 50K. Now, I am not calling for 48 to 50K anytime soon, but I'm just saying these levels are up there. So if we get another big move, just like on that last Sunday Sauce video, I literally was saying, guys, I'm not saying these prices are definitely coming tomorrow, but if price gets a random move off some bullish Bitcoin ETF news that we can't predict, these levels are going to be sitting there, so you might as well have them marked out on your chart so you can profit off of them when price gets there. And sure enough, you wake up the next day and boom, you're at those levels. So, these levels are there, although I'm not calling for them. We do have a decent bit of resistance between the point of control and value area high of this range. And as you guys know, price action is often messy, and it is very rare that we see price just hit the value area low and moon right to the POC like that. And it's even less likely, in my opinion, to see price flip that POC and then instantly moon up to the value area high. Although it is highly likely to go visit these levels, chances are price action will be very messy. We'll come up, we'll come down, we'll lose the POC, or we'll get bing-bonged around confused, but eventually you are likely to come up to that level. But really what I want to focus on today, guys, is this local price action, because obviously if you come down to a lower time frame, you can see we are fighting around with this point of control, attempting to flip it to support right now. And you can see we have kind of stuck around here on this level. We hopped up here a couple times, lost it again, and then we're back above it. So we are playing around with this POC, and the POC does act as a magnet, guys. You want to remember that, because this is the area where the most volume was transacted, making that point of control act like a magnet. So a lot of times you will see price cling to the POC like this. You probably have heard me talk about this before. This is a perfect example of the POC acting as a magnet as price just clings to it. I know a lot of people are looking at this as somewhat of a bull pennant or bullish consolidation, which is completely right. This is definitely looking like a bull pennant to me. Bull pennants do oftentimes break to the upside, but here's the thing. It's not 100% of the time, right? Now, as you guys know, I pay attention to patterns, but I don't necessarily trade them. And that's because Bitcoin is a highly manipulated asset, right? So oftentimes what will happen is it's not just retail traders that are looking at these patterns. Mostly retail trades patterns, right? So it's not just the retail that are looking at these. The big boys know that these patterns are forming too. And by the big banks and all the big money in the market looking at these patterns, what this does is basically expose the retail traders, because now the big money knows what the retail traders are expecting. They know that, oh God, the bull pennant's forming. All the retail traders are getting bullish now, expecting a breakout. And a lot of times, especially with a highly manipulated asset like Bitcoin, you will see them actually come down and push price below the pennant and then reverse it back up, and then it winds up getting the big move to the upside. There's actually a couple specific reasons why I wouldn't be surprised if we got that big push down, and I'll explain exactly why I don't think that's that unlikely in just a second. But again, this is why trading does come to an if this then that statement. So when it comes to my trading plan moving into the next week, I am going to be kind of just sitting and waiting for my levels to get hit. I have some key levels up here in the premium Discord that we are waiting to come hit for bigger short positions, and we have some levels down here that we're looking at for some potential long positions. But other than that, we are just scalping this range, and by range I mean this volume profile that we've created, looking for shorts at the highs and then longs at the lows. I am actually long. I'm actually long from down here, which is probably about time to start taking some profit, because we are getting up to that value area high. But it's not that these patterns can't break to the upside, guys. There is probably a better chance than not that this will break to the upside. I just want to open the idea to you guys that this doesn't guarantee the break to the upside, right? We could see some manipulation to the downside before finally reversing and then seeing that break up. And I want you guys to understand that this happens because the market makers and the big money see these patterns on the chart too, and they know that all the retail money or the dumb money are looking at these, and it makes them bullish. So now that kind of gives them insight into what the retail is thinking. So now they know exactly how they can wreck them. It's what the market maker does best. But guys, this is basically what I'm going to be looking at. And obviously, like I said, as long as we're able to flip this POC decisively, it does open up the door to some higher targets. But what I want to do here, guys, is I want to turn off these macro levels, and I want to pull back up that local range, and I want to talk to you guys about kind of what I'm going to be looking at moving into the week going forward. So again, obviously we are getting that somewhat of a bull pennant, right? That is a bullish consolidation pattern, but we also have this volume profile, right? We are just trading this local range until we hit these higher prices, and if we push up even a little bit higher, guys, there is something that I'm looking at, and it has to do with the liquidation heat maps. And if we take a look here at the liquidation heat map, you can see that we actually have a little hot spot of liquidity up here between about 35,100 all the way up to about 35,500. And if we come onto the trading view chart, you can see that level sits right above these highs, which in my brain makes a lot of sense, because if we do wind up coming up here and price breaks back out of this range and comes up to these levels, you have to think to yourself, there's probably a lot of people short from up here and a lot of people short from up here. And what does that mean? That means that their stop losses and liquidation levels are sitting above those highs. And this makes this area on the chart act as a magnet for price. And if price comes in there and starts stopping out those short positions, it will put buy pressure on the market and push price up, and we may be able to see a move to the upside. But oftentimes, guys, with these liquidity grabs or liquidity sweeps, you can see price wick up and then come right back down for a reversal back to the downside. So this is kind of like the next major level to the upside. Not major level, but this is a local level I'm looking at to potentially reassess the situation and look for a new short position, right? Because again, if we do get this pump, it may be a fake out to wash out all these short positions from above these highs. And very similarly to the downside, guys, you have to understand, very similarly, guys, to the downside, we could see the same thing happen if this bull pennant is going to fake us out, give a big move to the downside, only to reverse price and come back to the upside. We may wind up coming down, and I want to talk about the levels underneath us that I'll actually be looking for a bounce. And it all has to do with the Fibonacci retracement levels. And you can see here, if we pull from this kind of first impulse to the upside, you can see we have a golden pocket sitting right here between about $32,478 and $32,337. And this is going to be a significant level that I would be watching for a bounce, being that it is likely for price to come back down and test one of these local golden pockets. So if we are going to see a continuation to the upside, but we're going to fake out of this bull pennant first, I will look for something like this, right? So you have your bull pennant right here, and I will look for something like this where we get a fake out to the downside. Everybody gets super bearish, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, we thought it was all a fake out. It's all a fake out. We break down to the downside, but then you start to catch some support down here. This would be a safe place locally, in my opinion. Obviously, assuming that you're assessing the situation correctly down here, that this could be a place to start looking for a bounce to potentially get that actual move to the upside you were looking for up here. But obviously, the market makers got to come down and wreck as many people as possible, because you have to think to yourself, when the market is this bullish, guys, we likely have a lot of people that are long from down here on these lows, right? So everybody's looking at, oh my God, this bullish consolidation. Every pullback, people are looking for longs down here, and then people are looking for longs down here. This is what creates a lot of liquidity below these levels, making it very likely to either come down and sweep these lows before the move to the upside. And the same thing goes for the highs. A lot of people may be very bearish here, building up their short positions at the range highs, and this makes it very likely for price to come up, sweep these highs, and then reverse price back to the downside. So guys, moving into the next week, I am simply keeping the emotion out of it and waiting for my key levels to get hit. I am simply waiting for the higher levels to get swept or the lower levels to get swept, right? And if we do wind up breaking out of this bull pennant, guys, and just getting the next leg up from here, which again, I don't know how likely that is with a fresh 2-day red dot printing on top of the 3-day red dot looking to print. We also have our daily red dot confirmed, although our VWAP is coming up a little bit. This is confirmed as well. We may be able to get a cool off, but the indicators are getting a little fuzzy right now, because when you get a big parabolic move like this, oftentimes it will confuse a lot of the indicators. So that's why I'm simply trading the price action, waiting for certain key levels to get swept. But let's assume we do get that big move to the upside. What are those next key levels above us that we're going to be looking at? Well, it all starts up here with our bigger range, right? Obviously, you guys saw we have this big range with 48 to 50K potentially being that value area high that we could potentially get to. I'm not calling for it, but it is up there. But we also have this area in between the POC and the value area high right here, and that comes right from our volume profile from back here on this last little area of consolidation that we had before the big dumps in the bear market. And those levels, that next level, again, if we're not just going to come up and sweep these highs to reverse back to the downside, we could potentially see that move up into these next targets. And this next target that I would really be watching is between about 37.55 and 39,112, and you might as well throw 40K in there as well, because it's just above us, and that is going to be a key psychological level of resistance. So if we get above here, hit on that POC and we hold it as support and we do get that next big move up, this will be the next big area of resistance I'm looking at. But remember, guys, in the short term, I am just being very careful of a sweep of the highs before a reversal back down or a sweep of the lows before a reversal back up. So I am simply just trading the price action right now, guys. But I just wanted to give you this little market update because we have seen that significant move up for Bitcoin. Although the higher time frames do look very bullish still, right? Money flow still coming up into the green on the 6-day and the weekly. Our 2-week green dot is confirmed and the money flow is crossing over into the green. Very, very good signs for the long term. Green dot on the monthly is also printing, going to confirm in about 2 days. This would be another significantly bullish sign in the long term. But remember, just because we have these higher time frame bullish signals does not mean that we're going to go up in a straight line forever. So even if we see this bull pennant rip to the upside, eventually we will get some kind of significant retracement to come in here because remember, the market likes to wreck as many people as possible. And this will be the last thing I talk about before I let you guys go. But remember, there's a lot of people likely long from these lows, putting a lot of liquidity below them, right? So once price comes down, it may want to sweep that liquidity before reversing. And even on the higher time frames, if we zoom out to the daily, guys, you have to understand that there is probably a lot of people long from below these lows as well, right? So there's probably, I mean, me, I'm part of those people, right? I am long from down here. Now, my stop loss is actually in profit right now, but a lot of people's stop losses are probably sitting still below this range from the people who were entering longs when price was dumping here. So don't be surprised in the next couple of months, even if we get a bigger move up, we could still get a big cascade down to wash out all these shorts. So just because we got this big move up does not mean that we can't come down to the lower 20s. I want to be very clear about that. But we now have a very, very clear compass because we are now in this macro volume profile that we're not expecting those lower prices until we break this extremely key level, guys. This is the sauce. You stuck around to the end of the video, so this is the sauce. That key level is going to be this blue box between about 29,859 and 28,371 because if we come down, we are likely to get a bounce here, but if we don't get a bounce here, that's where we could see Bitcoin come down to some lower prices. So guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time I got for today's Sunday sauce. I just wanted to check in on Bitcoin, right? Because last Sunday we were looking for the move up. We got the move up. Now what? And right now it's just playing that local price action. Again, seeing a little bit of mixed signals on the indicators has me focusing a little bit more on the key levels and the actual price action, trying to figure out where that liquidity is. But now we have a plan. If we get that big move up, you know where those key levels for a high likelihood of a rejection are. And if we get a little push up to sweep those highs, you got those levels as well. And then you also have all those levels and that plan to the downside. Not only those local levels, but also that 29,859 to 28,371 level, which is your macro super key level of support. And basically the line in the sand of where I would turn bearish. So with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for today's video. Take some time off the charts. Let Bitcoin do its thing. Set your levels, set some alerts, go touch some grass. And with all that being said, that's all the time I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Frankie Candles out.
Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like